back, everyone. Episode 49 of Winning the Division on the last day of June. We are recording this as July is upon us. Tomorrow, hard to believe, training camp is about a month out.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. This is Winning the Division. I'm Ryan Smith alongside former NFL tight end Ben Troupe. But before we get started, just want to remind everyone, as we normally do, our friends over at 1-800-Flowers.com have you all set up for this summer, the month of June and beyond. Get All American Smiles this July 4th, up to 50% off of their brand of flowers. Shop now. Put in the promo code 3028005. And looking for any plants and garden products as well, you can get those at 1-800-Flowers as well. 40% off this summer all the way through Labor Day weekend. You can put in the ad code 3075166. Again, our friend over at 1-800-Flowers.com have you and started through the summer and through the fall and all seasons of the time. 1-800-Flowers.com. Get your items there. And just remember, if you aren't connected, please rate, review, and subscribe. We are on the Keep Pounding Podcast Network, which we are powered by Fans First Sports Network. That is the audio version of this podcast. The YouTube version, you can go to youtube.com/Tobacco Radio. That is the latest for all the latest news, analysis, and interviews, top players, announcers, studio leads, and more. Rate, review, and subscribe. Well, Ben, let's start out with first things first, as we always do. First off, congrats to Jordan Love. He is a married man. This one I know is real, not to throw any shade at the other.
Whoa. Hey, was Smitty coming out firing? Hey, let me tell you something. If you want to know somebody's throwing shade, if they make a statement and the very next statement is, "Oh, no shade." Oh, so he said, "I know this one is real. I'm just saying. I have confirmed with my sources that it is real. Not saying that another former Packers, marriage isn't real. We just don't know."
Exactly.
His name is, So
exactly. Yeah. Jordan Love marries Ronica Stone, professional volleyball player for the San Diego Mojo. They posted photos this past weekend on her Instagram story, and then Love, had some statements as well. It looks like David Bakhtiari, among others, was attendance of the wedding, So Ben, thoughts on the happy couple, Jordan Love and Ronica Stone?
I think when the season first started the 2024 season first started, they was talking about him being engaged and him getting his new contract and how they met each other. So I'm always happy to see guys, like Jordan and whomever, decide to not come over here to the marriage side of things. It is a beautiful experience. And welcome to the rest of your life, Jordan. I mean, you got somebody to spend the rest of your life with. So it's not about wins and losses. It's about, listen, that's gonna be the best decision you're gonna make, hopefully. So congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Love.
All right. Let's get to the big one. We'll talk more about this later on today in our kind of first big segment, but just kind of big picture. Your thoughts on the Dolphins acquiring Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. It is late at night. Dolphins sending Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith to the Pittsburgh Steelers for Minkah Fitzpatrick. That is where he was drafted as the Dolphins player, then traded to Pittsburgh, and ironically traded back to the Miami Dolphins. So Minkah Fitzpatrick on his way to Miami, Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith on their way to Pittsburgh.
When the news first broke, I mean, obviously I was on X. I think I was researching something. I saw that Jalen Ramsey said, "I break my own news," saying that he had gone to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jonnu Smith, a guy that broke franchise records last year, a tight end for the Miami Dolphins, gets to be added to a Pat Freiermuth. When people kept asking who was going to be Aaron Rodgers' go-to guys, I mean, you got DK Metcalf, so now you get Jonnu Smith to pair with Pat Freiermuth, but that's secondary. Pittsburgh, Joey Porter Jr., Darius Slay coming over from the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Ramsey, and you thought it was going to be Minkah Fitzpatrick, but it's not. Now, Minkah Fitzpatrick, does he help Miami's defense? Yes. Can he rush the passer? No. And Mika, as you mentioned, Mika was a guy that got drafted out of Alabama to Miami. Then he got traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now he gets to go back to Miami. I think the team that won the trade, if I'm being honest, is Miami, because I don't want people who don't want to be there. I don't want disgruntled former superstars, even though Jalen Ramsey is still a very, very good corner. I don't know if he's top 5. I mean, he's probably definitely top 10, more like 9 or 10, but he's still a very, very good corner. A Darius Slay, who still got a lot left in the tank, and a Joey Porter Jr., who's still on his rookie contract. I think they got a really, really good secondary, but I don't think it's going to matter. Here's why, Smitty. Everybody kept saying, is Aaron Rodgers going to be able to help this Pittsburgh Steelers team and Mike Tomlin continue his winning ways and not have a losing record? Maybe, but I don't think it's going to happen. Pittsburgh has become very, very stable to very, very, very shaky, because the quarterback position is one day filled with a guy in Aaron Rodgers who, I mean, he can still play football, but I mean, how many years do we got left? Jalen Ramsey forced his way out of town in Miami. T.J. Watt still doesn't have his new contract. DK Metcalf he looks like an action figure out there at receiver. Is Pittsburgh going to beat Baltimore? No. Is Pittsburgh going to have a time trying to beat Cincinnati? Yes. And is Pittsburgh going to beat Cleveland? Maybe. We don't know. Minka Fitzpatrick has been about as rock solid of a player since he got drafted. He has been. I mean, T.J. Watt is obviously who everybody talks about for Pittsburgh, but one could argue that Minka Fitzpatrick might have been the best player on that defense, and that's taking nothing away from Cameron Hayward and how solid he's been since he's been there. Minka Fitzpatrick makes any team better. He's definitely going to make Miami's secondary better, but does he make that defense better? It's going to come down to, can that defense have, guys, like Bradley Chubb and company and Phillips and company come back and be difference makers. But it is a blockbuster trade, and I think Jalen Ramsey gets, like a couple of $1 million added to his base salary to make him around $20-something million a year or something like that. Jonnu Smith, I think, is the steal of this trade, because you look at what he did last year for Miami. You look at what he does in the offense that's going to feature him. Pat Freiermuth is a good tight end. I really don't think – I think Jonnu Smith is an upgrade, but I think what they want to do is run 2 tight end sets a lot. They want to run, 2 tight end sets a lot next year with Pittsburgh with the running game. But I just think it shows that I give Mike McDaniel a lot of credit. They said, which one you want to deal with, Tyreek or Jalen? I'd rather deal with Tyreek, because at least Tyreek makes our offense better. Jalen Ramsey is a big name on defense, but they still not beating Buffalo, right? They still not doing that. New England's going to give them a fight, and we'll see what happens with Justin Fields and the Jets. So I do think at the end of the day, you added a draft pick, and a 7th-round pick, and Minka Fitzpatrick. When you talk about the Miami Dolphins, you get a lot of money off your books with a guy like Jalen Ramsey. You lose a potent tight end in Jonnu Smith. But what scares me the most is what you said, Smitty. Does that open up the door for a Kyle Pitts to go to Miami? Now, I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen, because here's the thing, and I mean this humbly. I don't think Miami think that Kyle Pitts is the upgrade over Jonnu Smith, because I know that offense featured Jonnu, and people, where was Jonnu Smith before he left? He was in Atlanta. He was actually paired with Kyle Pitts in Atlanta for a year.
That's funny. Let me tell you this. I want to say it was Albert Breer, which everyone knows from Sports Illustrated. He was saying, kind of his quick thoughts on this trade. People were giving him a lot of flack about. So as a Falcons fan, I'm going to ask you this question. He said, Jonnu Smith comes back to Pittsburgh, reunited with Arthur Smith, where he was in Atlanta, and someone who really knows how to use him as a tight end. And I think a lot of people in Albert Breer's mentions didn't exactly agree with that. They thought statistics say he had his best year of his career with Miami last year, and then the years with Mike McDaniel, not with Arthur Smith in Atlanta the first go-around. So do you think this will be an upgrade for Jonnu Smith in Pittsburgh this time with Arthur Smith, or will this how do you think he's going to be used this time under Arthur Smith? Will it be like the Atlanta days, or do you think Arthur Smith maybe took a little page from Mike McDaniel in Miami and maybe kind of sees how to use him now?
You hope it's a hybrid. I don't think Mike McDaniel doesn't get enough credit for his high-powered offense. I mean, it's not Sean McVay, but it's pretty special the way they find a way to get a guy like Jonnu Smith, because what I think what Mike McDaniel did, what the Jonnu Smith has said, when he know that Tyreek Hill is going to get a lot of attention, and I like Jalen Waddle, but he's a number 2 for a reason. He's a good ride, but he's definitely not a Batman. Who can I exploit? And it's always going to be an athletic tight end. Now, Jonnu Smith, who should be worried, is Pat Freiermuth, because Pat Freiermuth has already signed a contract extension, and he's been good, not great. Right? He's had moments, but Pat Freiermuth is in a similar situation as Mark Andrews from the Ravens. Both of them dropped pivotal passes in the playoffs to move on. Pat Freiermuth did last year, and Mark Andrews did last year. Now, I don't think Pat Freiermuth is in danger of losing his job. I think Pat Freiermuth is in danger of losing snaps, losing opportunities, because they're going to go with I said they're going to do 2 tight end sets, but they're going to go with the hot hand. And I think what they're doing is saying, hey, I'd rather have 2 really, really good tight ends and a DK Metcalf than to have DK Metcalf and Pat Freiermuth by himself. So right. I don't Arthur Smith will never ever. I mean, I don't know what people get out of. I mean, Arthur Smith is known for 3 things. May his daddy rest in peace. His daddy is the founder of FedEx, right? He was a part of a Tennessee Titans offense that featured a Derrick Henry that went over 2,000 yards, right?
Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. Ryan
Tannehill at quarterback, and he was the head coach of the Falcons. Like that's what he's known for at this current juncture. No one is anybody scared of a Pittsburgh Steelers offense with or without Aaron Rodgers? No. I mean, Jonnu Smith helps, but helps in how much? So I'm gonna be interested to see. And like I said, Jonnu Smith is just like an Evan Ingram, former New York Giants and former Jacksonville Jaguar. I think he's a Denver Bronco now. You put those guys in the right system, they can thrive.
Correct.
Not in the system.
Yeah. Let's go to Pittsburgh. Again, teams mulling trade offers for TJ Watt. The Steelers come out and have vehemently denied this. So they have no interest in trading him. But Watt, turning 31 in October, has not spoken publicly since the end of last season. But frustrations and negotiations with the team back in April when he posted a picture on his Instagram story of himself flashing a peace sign and a Steelers jersey.
I mean, TJ Watt is going to do all he can to try to get the attention of the pit. There is 0% chance that TJ Watt is getting dealt. How do I know? I give you 2 words. I give you a name. Myles Garrett. He's not going anywhere. Because it's not that TJ Watt wants to go. You know what they're going to ask for TJ? Could you only imagine what Pittsburgh will want for TJ? So it's not that teams don't want TJ, because they do. But TJ understands this. This is my last time for getting a big contract, man. I don't have, another 7 years in me. He got some quality years left, right? So I think TJ is using people don't understand the ripple effect of the Myles Garrett deal. Like when that deal came out, people are like, oh my God, the TJ Watts of the world are saying to themselves, dude, did you see what they just gave? Because we're talking about premier pass rushes. TJ Watt has already been a defensive player of the year. Him and his brother JJ are the only brothers to ever win defensive players of the year. So, and Pittsburgh knows that. Pittsburgh knows, look, when Mike Tomlin says, I believe it's going to work itself out, that means I'm going to give TJ Watt all the time he needs. I don't expect to see him much in training camp, if at all, but I expect him to be ready for the regular season. He's a consummate professional. He's going to do the things he's supposed to do to make sure he's in shape whenever he does report. And I'm just going to let this thing play out, because TJ Watt is real similar to like a Cam Hayward, to like players that you're so used to them dominating that watching them dominate becomes boring, because that's what you used to seeing them do. But Cam Hayward is calling TJ behind the scenes, checking on him. I mean, I don't think it helps TJ Watt watching the freaking ticker. He sees that Minka Fitzpatrick just got traded. Like, I mean, he won't Jalen Ramsey. He's like, but Jalen Ramsey plays. Now, here's the thing right here. No one's saying this. No one's saying this right now. Remember, Joey Porter Jr., corner. Darius Slay, senior, corner. Jalen Ramsey, corner. I know that Darius Slay can play in the slot. One of those, not Joey Porter. Could a Jalen Ramsey potentially flirt with playing safety? I'm not saying he will, but would he even give it a shot? I mean, he get to patrol the airways, but that's gonna be an interesting situation. But Pittsburgh gives off the impression. Pittsburgh is great at smoke and mirrors. A lot of sizzle, no steak. Because the Jalen Ramsey trade looked good until he's disgruntled. Because remember this, Smitty, I've heard this. It don't take long to feel a tight way in a place like Pittsburgh. Because Baltimore, they coming. Cincinnati offense, it's coming. And Cleveland ain't got nothing to lose. What do they have to lose? They empty the tank every game. So, but for the last day, in June, my mother. A happy birthday to my mom, by the way. It's my mom's birthday today, so happy birthday, Mom. Happy birthday, Mom. We'll just, another year around the sun. Another year.
Happy birthday, Benjamin Troupe's mommy. Thank you.
And for those who don't know, my mom's name is Cheryl Troupe. My wife's name is Cheryl Troupe.
So there you go.
Craziness right here.
Awesome. Good to give that shout out. Happy birthday, Miss Cheryl. Let's keep going here. Chargers adding Rodney Harrison to Team Hall of Fame. 36th player inducted into the organization's Hall of Fame.
Rodney Harrison doesn't get enough credit for the caliber of safety he was. Rodney Harrison was the truth. And I know we talk about these hyper safeties like Troy Polamalu, as we should, Ed Reed, John Lynch, Earl Thomas, Bob Sanders, and the list goes on and on. Brian Dawkins. Rodney Harrison was about as big of a hitter as you can have. He controlled him. He was an enforcer. They was talking about when he came over from the Chargers to New England, how he was hitting guys, and they had to tell him, man, cut that out, man. Like, we get it. But yes, congratulations to Rodney Harrison. I know he's probably already in the Ring of Honor in New England. And the only reason why he hasn't gotten into the Hall of Fame yet is because he did get called for PEDs. And I'm not saying that should keep a person from making the Hall of Fame, but it is going to make you wait. But yeah, Rodney Harrison was a bad man from the Chargers and New England. A lot of people only know him from New England, but he was doing that with the Chargers.
With the Chargers, yep. Browns sign kicker Andre Schmidt and release defensive end Ogbo Okoronkwo. If I did not get that right, I apologize if he is listening.
Camp casualties. I mean, you hope that the young man, I ain't even going to try to butcher his name. You hope that by releasing it right now, he gets a chance to land on another team before training camp. He'll get a chance to work out, land on the team before training camp. But kickers are at a premium now. I need a kicker to compete in training camp. What you say it was defensive lineman?
Yes, defensive lineman.
Defensive lineman. Well, yeah, hopefully by getting released now, he gets a chance to hopefully land on some team's training camp, and hopefully, man, he won't just be camp legs and get a chance to hopefully make a roster.
I talked about this last week with the Chiefs and their financial situation with the state of Kansas and Missouri. Chiefs seek stadium extension for Kansas stadium financing.
That situation is going to be one that people are going to have to keep an eye on, because Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City, Kansas. What they're under a lot of pressure is now is not the Kansas situation, Smitty. It's what's going on. Titans getting a new stadium. Jags getting a new stadium. Commanders getting a new stadium. And these are teams, the Commanders have gotten, they were relevant for a year. The Titans aren't relevant. The Jags definitely aren't relevant. So what a Kansas City Chief fan will think is, hey, how can we not be getting these things when we're the one of the premier teams in the National Football League until they start seeing them taxes going up? Because for those who don't know, yes, the state will give at least half or a big portion of the fund of a big portion of the stadium. Who you think got to pay the other half? So just know, taxpayers, y'all love Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Chris Jones. Y'all love them that much. They're like, dang, man, we got to pay how much for this thing? So, crazy.
And then we're going to end on 3 legal situations. 49ers corner Yamner Lenore arrested on obstruction charge. Super Bowl 59 performer arrested after holding up a Sudanese flag back in the Super Bowl. The performer of New Orleans Zul Karan Kwam Natumbu, 41, was arrested after the protest at halftime back in the Super Bowl. And then finally, I can't believe I'm still saying this now, former Ravens kicker Justin Tucker gets 10-week ban from the NFL for violating the personal conduct policy and will be eligible for reinstatement November 11th. And but personally, at 35 years old, Ben, I think this marks officially the end of his career. I think the official release from Baltimore, I think was it in my opinion, but this I think definitely 35-year-old kicker. Yes, he was great, but he was missing kicks last year. He wasn't nearly as good as he has been nails in the past, and last year was not it. And with this suspension and his legal issues off the field surfacing, I think his career is done.
Yeah, to the what you say, the Sudanese guy? It was Sudanese guy?
Holding up a Sudanese flag in protest during the Super Bowl. It was one of the performers in the Super Bowl who had permission to be down there, was performing, but then all of a sudden held up a flag during as a demonstration during the halftime show, and that's what got him arrested later on.
I guarantee you, the gentleman understood the consequences, or he accepted the consequences, whether known or unknown, when it comes to something like that. As a person who understands that protest, it's voices of the unheard. So who am I to tell a person what and what not to protest against? Look, there was a peaceful protest. Timing is everything, but guess what? It ain't fine.
And it looks like we lost Ben there for a second. But as we were wrapping up, first things first, those legal situations will be taken their time, and they will be dealt with at their levels respectively. As Ben tries to get back on here, we'll kind of go through the Pittsburgh and Miami situation as one of our big topics here tonight. I'll go ahead and just start with that trade. Just kind of talking a little bit more about this. I give the Dolphins an A in this trade. They knew what they wanted. The trade in general, I think, was really a disaster. But the Dolphins get rid of Jalen Ramsey, who they did not want to deal with on the defensive side of the ball. Ben talks about Tyreek Hill being someone on the offensive side of the ball who they can deal with based on his legal troubles and just the production he gives them on the field. With Jalen Ramsey, that was not so. Minka Fitzpatrick gives him a replacement there in their backfield. Now, their corner position still needs to be shored up, but they get that late round draft pick swap in favor in the deal. But essentially traded one veteran that they didn't really want to give a contract to, and then they get another veteran to replace them in that same situation, the secondary. So I think that helps the Dolphins here. For the Steelers, it's interesting. I give them a B minus C plus. It's one of those situations where they acquired Jonnu Smith, who was used in Arthur Smith's offense before, and I think he is going to be with Pat Freiermuth, like Ben said, a 1-2 punch there in the Steel City for Aaron Rodgers. But where is Jonnu Smith going to be used correctly under Arthur Smith? Unlike he was in Atlanta, we'll have to see how that plays out. And then when it comes to Jalen Ramsey, he still can play corner, he still can play safety, and there's a lot there in Pittsburgh. I think there's going to be a lot going there in this trade as both teams will kind of figure out how this trade manifests itself kind of early into the season. Ben, as we welcome back here, looks like he is back with us. So Ben, just going into our first big story of the night, which was the trade between the Steelers and Dolphins, just kind of breaking that down. Giving the listeners my grade, I gave the Dolphins an A for this grade, and I give the Steelers a B minus or C plus. That was my grade specifically for the teams collectively. what is your thoughts on the trade now? More granular, and give it a grade if you want to, and just kind of how do you think this really plays out for both teams going forward?
I give the Falcons an A. I mean the Falcons. I give the Dolphins an A because they got rid of a disgruntled player who thought he had more leverage than he did. Like, look, man, we're not winning with you. We're gonna take our chance without you. But I think you get an upgrade. I think Minka Fitzpatrick is an upgrade at the safety position, an upgrade as a leader, an upgrade as a captain, and it's gonna make the team better. And you get a 7th-round pick and no distractions. I think for Pittsburgh, I give it a B because of who Jalen Ramsey is and who Jonnu Smith is. But I think Jonnu Smith is going to be more of an upgrade than Jalen Ramsey because Jalen Ramsey is good, not great. Sometimes we get caught up in people's resumes. Sometimes we get caught up in who people have been, not who people are. I know Jalen Ramsey is going to be ready to play. I mean, the guy has been an incredible player since days of Florida State. But I don't like when players force their way out of town. Like, look, you're not going to always win. It's not going to always go your way. But you're going to a team that's relevant. You're going to a division that's relevant. But I don't think what's going to happen when y'all looking up first 6-7 games of the year and y'all 3-4, something like that. So we'll see how this marriage. But if I'm going to tie myself to somebody, I'd rather be Minka Fitzpatrick, a guy that's only been rock solid since he came into the NFL. Jalen Ramsey has been an incredible player, but he's also had incredible baggage. From the days in Jacksonville, forced his way out to end up out there with the Rams. When he first got out there with the Rams, Sean McVay said, look, we're going to give you a contract. We don't want no nonsense. When his play kind of dipped a little bit, team ain't playing as well, they moved him on to Miami. Miami had a really, really good year, but he realized, hey, man, we can't beat Buffalo. He tried to keep it under wraps. Now he's forced his way out of town. Jalen Ramsey don't got many years left. But he's trying to spend the rest of his time in the National Football League on teams that matter, on defense that matter. Doesn't get more relevant than the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I'd rather be a Miami Dolphin fan than a Pittsburgh Steelers fan because Miami, even though they can't beat Buffalo, they're gonna play hard. Pittsburgh, it's gonna be a lot of news because of who they are, not because of what they're doing. And we'll see how that marriage with Aaron Rodgers, ends up.
Yeah. It's interesting, and looking up the numbers you said, Steelers are expected to take on the bulk of Ramsey's $26.6 million contract with that $1.5 million raise that you talked about earlier. I think Fitzpatrick, who is 29 this year coming up, I believe the Dolphins are basically betting on him to play that deep middle roaming player like he used to in Pittsburgh, but without the missed tackles, without the struggles that he had last year. And then as far as Ramsey with the Steelers, yes, they're thin at safety, but I think maybe a full-time safety move to Ramsey might be beneficial here instead of corner, like you were saying. I think that could play well for the Steelers. I think Ramsey, why they traded him, I think was pretty clear. He thought best there was he did not want a salary adjustment, and both parties were kind of just going back and forth with each other on social media, and I think it was just best for them to part ways. And then as far as Jonnu Smith goes, it's difficult for the Dolphins to replace him, no doubt about it. And so that part, I think, remains a question. How are they going to see? I know they've got Waddle, they got Hill, and they got Devon Achane, but the tight end is a very important position in that offense, and that kind of remains to be seen. I don't think either team is done making moves with the remaining holes on their roster. So obviously training camp comes, and camp cuts will come as well.
It's going to be very, very interesting. You make a great point. Jalen Ramsey, if he's looking at a guy like a Charles Woodson, a guy that flourished at the cornerback position, then moved to the slot cornerback position, won defensive MVP when he moved over to the Green Bay Packers, then went back to the Oakland Raiders, a team that originally drafted him and played safety and played really, really well for like 3 years. Jalen Ramsey, he's 6'1", about 6'2". He got the size. It's not that is he willing? What the great Mike Tomlin quote is, it's not what you're capable of, it's what you're willing to do. We all capable. All of us aren't willing. We're going to see how much of a teammate and a team player Jalen Ramsey is. You want to show people that, not saying Jalen Ramsey is a bad teammate. He's never been known as a bad teammate. He's just very, very volatile when he wants his way, when he wants his money, when he wants out, when he don't like the scheme. And he got that going to Pittsburgh. But the Miami Dolphins tight end position is one to watch. I mentioned Evan Ingram when we first started the show. A guy that flourished really, really well in the Jacksonville offense is now out there in Denver. Kyle Pitts, to me, doesn't lack ability. He lacks two things, right? Scheme and opportunity. The scheme in Atlanta is not built for him, and he don't get as many opportunities because of that scheme. If Kyle Pitts is a Miami Dolphin by the end of training camp, I'm not gonna like it. But you talk about can upgrade that position. If he only get, and I was doing something to show y'all, because you made a great point, Smitty, when you was talking about Jonnu Smith, right? And here's Jonnu Smith to show y'all this Arthur Smith stuff is a fluke. I mean, 18 catches, 157 yards, 20 catches, 258, 35 for 439, 41 for 448, 28. That's all in Tennessee. New England, 28 for 294, 27 for 245. His 1 year in Atlanta, 50 catches, 582 yards. So he did have, an okay year. Last year in Miami, 88 catches, 884 yards, 8 touchdowns. So, I mean, he almost tripled his production, in 1 year. And what he did, like maybe his first 4 years in Tennessee, he almost did in 1 year, with Miami. So I know that if a Kyle Pitts ends up in the Miami, because I think a guy like Mike McDaniel doesn't get enough credit for his offensive genius because he calls the plays. We'll see, but I think that Miami Dolphins tight end position is going to be one to watch throughout training camp, and they're going to want to upgrade with a veteran tight end who's either proving himself in the past or waiting to prove himself, in the present.
Yeah. Just really quickly, because I don't want to talk about this a lot, and it's we're kind of focused right on the 2025 season coming up. Obviously, there's a whole season to play first. First round from Matt Miller of ESPN, his early projections for the first round of the 2026 draft. Guess who he has selecting number 1?
The Saints.
No, that would be the Cleveland Browns.
Selecting who?
Cade Klubnik from Clemson.
Oh, my God. I mean, now, I heard – listen, I seen a lot of Cade last year, heard a lot about him. I mean, he's obviously been an upgrade. I mean, that quarterback position –
5.
So they'll get so Arch is going 5 to the Saints.
And he has Caleb Downs from the safety from Ohio State.
All right, I mean –
I'm just letting you know, people are already starting 2026 mocks. My point was just to say Cleveland is first on this particular clock here with Matt Miller. But we can go through as we get closer to August. We'll go to our season predictions and we'll give who do we think is going to be picking number 1. But I just think it's hilarious that it's funny how we continue to get these mock drafts early before the season even starts. But hey, that's just what makes people just want to see it and want to hear it, and people can't get enough about the NFL. I mean, today was supposed to be the start of NBA free agency, and what happened? The NFL decided to do a blockbuster June trade without the movie theater.
Because the NFL understands we dominate Sundays in the fall, we dominate headlines in the spring, we dominate headlines. Obviously we got to dominate headlines in the spring because it goes from Super Bowl, right? Then you talk about pre-draft, you talk about the draft, you talk about pro days. Now you talk about post-draft, OTAs, mini camps, training camps. And the NFL has to show the NBA how to really do this. What does the NFL do now better than the NBA? For people who don't know when it comes to the sports leagues, hockey, it's about the physicality. It's about these tradition-rich, games. MLB, it's about the teams, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, the so on and so forth. The NBA is still about the players, and the NFL is about the NFL logo. But Smitty, I think what the NFL is doing is saying, hey, we all know the NFL is all about that logo. People see that big NFL and people, but are they potentially saying we also want to make it about the players too? Because Jalen Ramsey, Minka Fitzpatrick, and Jonnu Smith took all the headlines from the NBA. These ain't quarterbacks. This is a safety, a corner, and a tight end. going from Miami to Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh to Miami, and a 7th round pick. So when people start saying how polarizing is the NFL, ask Jalen Ramsey ask Jalen Ramsey, ask Jonathan Smith, ask Minka Fitzpatrick, saying, dude, I know that social media is another barometer when you start talking about headlines, because that's how we get a lot of our headlines. Some of us still go to, ESPN.com and FoxFS1.com. We still do it. But sometimes, the big brother got to show little brother, we still here. The Yankees got to show the Dodgers, we still here. So I think for the National Football League, they do two things well. They market the game well, and it is selling well. Even because now people, how many people are asking, who's Jalen Ramsey? Who's Minka Fitzpatrick? Who's Jonnu Smith? Oh, that's tight end. Tight end, what's that? That's cornerback. Cornerback, what's that? So they're adding to the fan base while building, while continuing to nurture those fans they already got. But yeah, I couldn't tell you what happened in the NBA today, because it's not that the NBA makes more headlines because of controversy. Ace Bailey don't want to get drafted by the Utah Jazz. You don't want to out of Rutgers. Don't want to take no workouts. He gets drafted by the Jazz. Gets there and says, I can't wait to be. It's a dream come true. Sure it is, Ace. There ain't a person on the planet want to play for no Utah Jazz, especially if you're from the East Coast. Utah, where is that at? Exactly.
Yeah. I wanted to go into for just a second, since I did talk about the draft, and it looks like Cleveland in this particular Matt Miller's first mock early projection going first. So obviously with Cleveland, and then we had the Shedeur Sanders news from a few weeks ago now, a week and a half ago. You still have Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and then obviously Dylan Gabriel. And then Deshaun is obviously going to be on the PUP list and probably out for the whole season with the Achilles. When it's all said and done with Cleveland, do you agree? I'm not even going to tell you what do you think is going to happen this season with the Browns, because we'll talk about that in August. But when it's all said and done, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, do you think the Browns are going to go quarterback shopping next offseason no matter what? Or is it going to be something that somebody's going to have to perform extraordinary for that not to happen?
No, I think they're going to go quarterback shopping, because if I draft two quarterbacks, I mean I'm not really sold on either. I hope that one of them are going to pan out, and I hope and the thing about the Cleveland Browns is this: Cleveland Browns has been doing this a long time. Cleveland Browns have been trying to find a quarterback for a long time. Baker Mayfield, Johnny Manziel, Eric Crouch. I mean, it's just the list goes on and on and on. Here's the thing, though. I know why you'll go and get a guy like Shedeur Sanders in 2025, and you go out there and get Cade in 2026 if it works out that way. We just saw it, right, Smitty? We got to have tradable pieces. What is every team always looking for? A quarterback. College, they looking for one. High school, they looking for one. Pop Warner League, they're looking for one. Flag football league, they're looking for one. They're looking for one in the National Football League. So if I get Cade, which means he's going to be the starter, which means there's going to be no more Flacco, the question then becomes, who do you keep? Can't keep them all. I think the one that's going to get you incredible trade value is a guy like Shedeur Sanders. Why is that important? I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell y'all something. The Saints aren't going anywhere. Just say the Saints got the 5th pick, 4th pick, 3rd pick. They're going to be in the top 5. They're going to be there, because I don't know who they're going to be. Just say something happens that they decide another team picks Arch Manning before they get to him. And just say Shedeur Sanders shows some flashes in 2025. I can see a scenario where Cade goes there to number 1. Arch Manning goes to a team right before the Saints. The Saints don't get a quarterback, and they trade for Shedeur. And they'll act like, oh man, we did. Because here's the thing, Smitty, we keep talking about these quarterbacks, right? If you're not a top 10 quarterback, it doesn't really matter who's 11 through 32. It really doesn't matter, because I need that caliber of player. Now, I get everybody ain't gonna be no top 10 quarterback. I get that. But when you start talking about 15 or 16 to 32. That's mid-tier. You're playing mid-tier. What's going to mean? You force your team to be mid-tier. Well, a lot of people would consider Jalen Hurts mid-tier. I don't know why they would consider him mid-tier. I don't know why they would consider him elite, because people saying, well, has he been in the MVP running? No. Has Justin Herbert? Has Jared Goff? Okay, so it's a lot of players haven't been in the MVP running. How many players have been to 2 Super Bowls other than Patrick Mahomes? That would be Jalen Hurts. How many people have won one? It's 3 quarterbacks currently right now that's starting in the National Football League that's won Super Bowls. Matthew Stafford, Jalen Hurts, right? Patrick Mahomes. That's it. That's the list. So, and I say that to say this. I don't care what GM you got. I don't care what players you got around them. If you don't got a quarterback, it ain't happening. It's not. It's not, because you can hide them in the regular season. You can't hide them in the postseason. 2026 is going to be very, very interesting, Smitty, because the quarterbacks obviously run college football. They're definitely going to run the draft. And this Cade kid, I mean, I can see him being really, really good. Obviously, Arch, he's gonna hopefully live up to the Manning last name. He got a really, really good team for Texas. But 2027, I'm telling y'all, this is gonna be a big year. I don't even want, because I'm already doing it. Let me tell you about a mock draft that I don't like. Me and Smitty know mock drafts are not analytics. They're not. They're the most sought after, dependent upon, is that even put that word there, thing that we should not look at the mock draft. Why? Because remember when it was just 1 mock draft, maybe 2? Smitty, by the time the draft comes, Bucky Brooks and all these people gonna be now put out 7 drafts. So, but for right now, because we need something to harp over, to talk trash about. Oh my God, they got him going to the Seahawks. No, what Smitty was really saying, who they got going to the Panthers? That's who he was looking at. Who he got going to the Panthers next year?
That would be Peter Woods from Clemson, defensive tackle from Clemson, to play next to Derek Brown.
Also Clemson. So Clemson about to have a run of players like Ohio State and Michigan did in these last couple of years. They got a bunch of guys coming out. I dig it. Yeah,
well, if the Panthers are picking number 6 next year, there is something wrong in Charlotte. I'm just going to let you know on that one.
Canales, get it together.
Yeah. Really quick, before we start, I'll give you a few lists that I had on my mind tonight before we get there. The Steelers trade with the Dolphins today reminded me that this was a player-for-player trade, man. This was a rare player-for-player trade. So I'm going to rank my top 5 NFL trades that were player for player. All right. I didn't have the music ready, so I'm just going to give some music here to myself. You can just imagine some music in the background, some whatever you want to call it in the background. Number 5, DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson back in 2020. You remember David Johnson was the man back in for the Cardinals. DeAndre Hopkins coming over from Houston. Number 4, that would be LaShawn McCoy for Kiko Alonso back in 2015. Do you remember that trade, Ben? Well, yeah, Kiko Alonso and LaShawn McCoy.
Kiko Alonso from the Miami Dolphins. That's embarrassing.
Number 3, that would be Jalen Ramsey for Minkah Fitzpatrick, the 2005 version. Jalen Ramsey was a great player. Minkah Fitzpatrick was better. And this was back in 2005. I'm sorry. 2025. I don't know. My typo here, 2025. So I'm talking about the first trade. I don't know why I said 2005. But the first trade of Jalen Ramsey and Minkah Fitzpatrick for the first go-around, that trade, sending Jalen to the Dolphins and Minkah to the Steelers. And then Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff back in 2021. That one still, I can't believe that happened. It was a rare quarterback trade. I think we're not going to see a lot of those ever in the history of the NFL. Just kind of 2 players that wanted to, it helped that the Rams hired the GM for the Lions at the time was assistant GM for the Rams at the time. So they knew each other quite well, and obviously that helped to get that trade off the ground between Goff and Matthew Stafford. And then my number one, this might surprise you, Clinton Portis for Champ Bailey.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
That was spicy. Redskin to Bronco. That was one of the most surprising trades back in 2004. Second round pick and Clinton Portis going to the Denver Broncos. But both players had five Pro Bowls at the time of the trade. Bailey had 4, Portis had 1, and they were among the league's best at their positions. And obviously, Champ Bailey is a Hall of Famer, and Clinton Portis is not a Hall of Famer, but he's up there with the greats that played at the position. And again, for the listeners, I apologize. It's yes. So to clarify, my number 3 was Jalen Ramsey for Minkah Fitzpatrick here in 2025. Which was today's trade. That was what I meant to say. I had 2005 written down in my notes, and a little typo by me. So the Jalen Ramsey, Minkah Fitzpatrick trade today was my number 3 in this topic.
I can't remember a lot of player for player trades in my career. I mean, I will tell you some trades that stood out when I think about trades, and these always stand out to me. Herschel Walker trade.
Number 1, yeah.
That's what, because it started a dynasty. The Oakland Raiders trade John Gruden to the freaking Bucks, and they played him in the Super Bowl the next year win the Super Bowl. I can't remember, but the Oakland Raiders trading Randy Moss to New England, and I'm like, because they thought he had lost a step, which was crazy. You talked about the DeAndre Hopkins trade. That stand out to me because I'm like, why would you trade your best? You're trading your best player away for a Houston Texas team that doesn't have an identity. That's wild. That's just these trades, man. Because the one that happened today with Minkah and Jalen is so unique because you actually trade a player for a player. A lot of times players get traded because they cost too much. They don't want to, they don't want to spend any money. I mean, it wasn't a trade, but I would say it was a swap. I don't know if it was a trade. I'll have to look into it. Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford was in, Detroit. He goes to, and obviously Matthew Stafford won the Super Bowl, and then Jared Goff goes to Detroit, both former number 1 overall picks and everything. And since the trade, outside of the Super Bowl, Detroit and Jared Goff have beaten Matthew Stafford every time, head to head. Here's the question we should be asking. Smitty, who was a player for player trade for your Carolina Panthers that you would like? Because see, that's what happened. We always put our GM. Is there a player right now for your Panther? And once again, I think Minkah Fitzpatrick is a more of an upgrade than Jalen because of what he provides for an entire defense. But you still got 2 quality players. Are there 1 or 2 players for your Carolina Panthers that you were willing to let go? And what 1 or 2 players would you trade for? Of equal or a slight lesser value?
Put me on the spot here. I mean, they're not going to do it because it's in division, but I'll take Kyle Pitts in Carolina.
Ooh, for who though? For who? Who you got to give up?
What the name of position the Falcons are weak in?
Good God. We need a corner. We need a corner bad. We got got 1. We need 2.
I do Kyle Pitts for Mike Jackson, corner 2.
Oh, okay. Because Kyle Pitts, I mean, he's intriguing. For me, wow.
But if I'm doing like a straight up tight end for tight end trade, I'd probably give up Tommy Tremble.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you know what I would do? Straight up, and I love Kyle Pitts, but I think he's going to be traded. I'll reach out to Denver. I asked Denver, hey, man, y'all want Kyle Pitts? We'll take Evan Ingram. Give me Evan Ingram right now. Like right now. Like we'll take, and I think the thing about the trade stuff is, you always trying to build, get a draft capital. They did get a 7th-round pick down there in Miami. Minka Fitzpatrick could be in line for a big payday because he got traded. He's going to be 30 years old, but he's still very, 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 very productive. Is he in line to get a big contract extension if he goes out there and balls for a Miami Dolphins team that right now, outside of Tua, I get you Tyreek Hill, they don't got no identity. They're a hot weather team that can't win in cold weather cities in the playoffs. They're very, very exciting when it comes to teams that they're supposed to beat, and they're very, very, very mediocre when it comes to teams that are superior to them. We'll see. Mike McDaniel could very well be on the hot seat for 2 reasons. 1, you can't beat Buffalo and you're not that competitive at division. And 2, you can't control your superstars. You can't control Tyreek, who's still there. And you just got rid of Jalen. And guess what, Tyreek? You said you were going to keep Jalen Ramsey in Miami. 0 for 1. 0 for 1.
Throwing a little shade there. I like it. That was speaking of shade, and I mentioned Rodgers at the very beginning of this episode. David Bakhtiari did throw shade at Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if you caught that. He said, at least one of my quarterbacks invited me to his wedding.
Look, listen. Okay. These days, Aaron Rodgers is an easy target. He makes himself an easy target, by the way, because he talks too much. He gives a lot of bulletin board material, a lot of clickbait, a lot of sensationalized stuff. But Smitty, this is coming from his own family saying we don't believe that he's really married. Let me tell you something. I was in the National Football League. I am not comparing myself to Aaron Rodgers in no way, shape, or form. The only similarities to me and Aaron Rodgers, I was born in 82. He was born in 83. That's where it stops. But Smitty, isn't it weird that you have no – look, do people separate from their family because of whatever reason? Yeah. But at a certain point, you got the forgiveness got to be on the menu, right? I mean, my goodness. You don't invite your own family. Let me tell you something. I mean this. I got some really, really good close friends that have become family members to me. On my special day, people like, where your parents at? Where your brother at? Oh, I ain't get invited. That's weird. Yep. I don't care who you are. That is weird. So, hey, man, if you married Aaron Rodgers, there's going to be much to do about nothing. But if this comes out that you were, immunized and not vaccinated, we're going to come at you. I'm just telling you, we're going to come at
you. A little nugget that I just found thanks to on Twitter at Andrew Filipponi at the Pony Express, lives in Pittsburgh and talks about sports on 93.7 The Fan up in Pittsburgh. To add more context to the Steelers Dolphins trade, and this is again coming from Andrew Filipponi up there in Pittsburgh. With the Ramsey deal, the Steelers are spending $179 million on defensive players. That is number 1 in the NFL by $29 million. Throw in Tomlin's $20 million salary, that's roughly $200 spent on defense. The point is, according to Andrew, Steelers need to be the best defense in the NFL.
Well, that's going to add fuel to the fire. Because here's the thing, right? That's a lot of money on defense. That's going to be, middle of the road. They're going to be functional. They're going to have moments. They're going to be consistent at being inconsistent. And here's the main thing: are they going to be complementary to an offense that might not have an identity for a little while? DK Metcalf is going to get double coverage. The running game is not something you're going to be able to hang your hat on. You're going to have a 2 tight end set with Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith, and you're going to have a volatile and old quarterback or seasoned quarterback in a guy like Aaron Rodgers. We'll see. That's a lot of money on defense. You know who's looking at that, though? The Eagles. Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith and Nakobe Dean and, Quinyon Mitchell. Those guys, they going, that's a lot of money, man. And most of our best players on defense are still on the rookie contracts. Some of us going into our second year. Some of us going into our third year. Some of us going into our fourth. And Howie Rose was saying, don't worry, baby. They're going to spend a bunch of money and don't get no return on investment. We play chess. We play chess over here in Philly. So, and I'm a Birds fan. Dirty Birds fan, though. Not an Eagle
fan. They're both dirty, if you ask me. But, we'll keep going.
One is dirty and one is cold. Would you say that?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We've got. I was going to do list spin, but I feel like it's only appropriate that we kind of close out this podcast with. We're going to be doing our division previews starting next week. We will have another episode for you guys with on Wednesday night coming up for our 50th episode. Dalton Wasserman from PFF will be on. He is a great get, and we'll talk with him then. But so episode 51 next week at a regular scheduled Monday programming will be the start of the division previews. Which one that is still being processed. So we'll have to wait and see where we're going to be going for week one for first division previews. But how we're going to do it is we're going to have 4 content creators or fans from each team, 4 per division, as we do these division previews. And so, Ben, I thought before we get into that next week, notwithstanding our 50th episode on Wednesday, I wanted to kind of give my lasting images, in my humble opinion, of all 32 teams. Just kind of one very, very brief takeaway from the last 5 to 6 weeks throughout the summer draft, free agency, everything coinciding before we start previewing these teams in their division with people who follow them more correctly and more succinctly than I do than just the Carolina Panthers and generally the NFC South. So I'm just gonna rapid fire these quick. One takeaway from each team, and you can give your own. You can tell me if you agree, what have you. All right. Arizona, I'm going to go in alphabetical order. Arizona, I said Kyler Murray was probably the number 1 or number 2 most pressurized quarterback going into the 2025 season. And I agree. This team has cleaned up the cap. They would have to go from worst to first. Not many coaches get to year 4 without a playoff berth, with Jonathan Gannon is going to be in year 3 this year. So it's time. That's what I have for the Arizona Cardinals to step up. It's time.
For the Arizona Cardinals, I mean, what comes to mind is, and I mean this humbly when I'm getting to talking about a team like Arizona, you said it's time, I would say about Kyler Murray, who are you really? Like who are you, Kyler? Because Kyler Murray came out and said, people talking, Kyler Murray is a very productive player. But are you productive individually? Because it ain't helping the collective. So I would say, who are y'all? Because the identity of Kyler Murray is going to be the identity of the Arizona Cardinals. Where he goes, y'all go. So if the real Kyler Murray want to stand up, I want to see it. I don't want to see flashes. I don't want to see moments. I want to see consistency.
Your Atlanta Falcons, GM Kerry Fontenot is not a whip. He's bold. And so I just have one question. I guess 2, 1 for each side of the ball. Can Michael Penix have a sophomore season to remember? And can James Pierce and Jalen Walker fix the Falcons' defensive line woes, pass rushing woes from forever? And if the answer to that is yes, the Falcons could very well win the NFC South.
For the Falcons, Terry Fontenot, it better pay off. It better pay off. And this is why I say it better pays off. It better pay off for 2 reasons. Kirk Cousins. Everybody gonna give you a pass for 2024 because you gave him $100 million and you knew what he was. You knew what he was, right? I would say in 2025 it better pay off. Michael Penix, because you started playing him too late, and I get it because of the money you gave him, and the 2 defensive ends you get in the first round. It better pay off. Why? Because no one cares about the Saints, right? Tampa Bay got the best culture. Carolina might have the best young team. Atlanta better be competitive, and it better pay off. It just better pay off.
the two Bs, Baltimore and Buffalo, both in the AFC. I'm combining these just because I have essentially the same word for them. Break through the door, kick it down. This, at some point, you've got to break through the glass ceiling, if you will, and get to the Super Bowl. Both of these teams have the quarterbacks. They've got the defense. They've got the pieces around the quarterback. They've got the coaching staff. Can these teams break through?
No more regular season magic. I want to see it in the postseason. I've seen all I need to see. Y'all got 3 MVPs, you know what I'm saying, between y'all, right? I want to see, can you do it in the postseason? Think about it, Smitty. Do anybody think they're not going to make the playoffs and not compete to win that division? No. We expect Baltimore to either win the division or make the playoffs. Buffalo going to win that division and make the playoffs. I don't want. Listen, I'm not saying y'all are stat compilers. I want to see the wins in the postseason.
And I think Chiefs fans would be the only fan base that would not sign up to see that as an AFC Championship game winner going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the thing about the Chiefs now. Listen, the Chiefs have shown they can bleed. The problem is y'all ain't the one cutting them. Not you, Buffalo. Not you, Lamar.
Yep.
And for Lamar got 2 career playoff wins, I think, in his career, 2 or 3. Can you make it to an AFC Championship game? Because it seems like your friend over there, your buddy over there in Buffalo, he don't want to win AFC Championship games. He just want to go. Maybe Buffalo, maybe Baltimore or Lamar, they could be the one to get to the AFC Championship game, win it, and represent the AFC in the Super Duper Bowl.
The Carolina Panthers alignment, a 4-5 finish down the stretch, 2 overtime wins in last season's final 3 weeks is a huge step for this fan base, for this team. Can the Panthers flirt with 500? Can they get to 9-8, maybe even 10 for some very optimistic fans out there?
Young and unruly. And I mean that. Can y'all be young and unruly? Can y'all be young and rowdy? Right? Because Bryce Young is going to take y'all there. We got that. But can y'all come with him? Because he's going to need the help. We know it's Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers first. I mean, we young and we unruly. We young and we rowdy. We young and we ruthless. I want to see it. What is that?
Bryce Young. All right. The Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams and his future in Chicago will be based on this year.
Is Ben Johnson the quarterback whisperer we think he is? He better be. Because here's the thing. When I think of Caleb Williams in Chicago this year, for him, no excuses. You said that he needed offensive line help. Guard from Kansas City, center from Atlanta, right? I'm telling you, they gave him a tight end in the draft. I think this year it's going to be on Caleb. I don't care if it's year 2. Caleb Williams talks a lot. He wants to write books and do Netflix specials. He better go out there and play. No excuses for you, Caleb. No more slip and slides. Different head coach, quarterback whisperer. A very, very aggressive mentality. They got you the guys up front. No excuse. It's going to be on Caleb.
The Cincinnati Bengals. If this defense is just decent, this team can get back to that Super Bowl where they lost with an Aaron Donald sack or would-be sack.
Can this defense stop another team? Can they get out the field? If two things, pay your pass rushers. Pay both of them. Pay your pass rushers. Because if you don't, I'm not saying they're going to be the reason why you're not winning. I'm saying they're going to be the only chance you're going to have at winning. They're going to be the only chance you have at winning. You got to pay Shamar Stewart. You got to pay Hendrickson. Why? Because who else you got on defense? Who do you got? I'll wait. Your leading tackler, gone. Sam Hubbard, retired. Trey Hendrickson, unsigned. Shamar Stewart, unsigned. So right now, it's all about T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, you know what I'm saying, and Joe Burrow. But guess what? They average like 30-something points a game in 2024. and didn't make the playoff. They was. I think their offense was ranked like top 2, top 3. Offense ain't the problem. Defense is the problem. Front office is the problem. Pay your pass rushers.
The Cleveland Browns. I got to see more from the quarterback room in order to see where this team is going to go. So I'm going to say incomplete.
The Cleveland Browns settle on the quarterback and the backup. Play tough football. Settle on a quarterback and a backup. Why is that important? I don't think Kenny Pickett's going to be there. Dylan Gabriel ain't even talked about. You forget that Dylan Gabriel got drafted there. Joe Flacco got David Njoku going to bat for him to be the starter, which I think Joe Flacco will be to start the season. And Shadur Sanders is who Cleveland wants. If Cleveland's going to rock, what they say, Cleveland rocks, Shadur going to have to be the starter. Pick a quarterback, pick a backup, and play tough and play quality football. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens.
Dallas Cowboys. If mine is all about Micah Parsons and his new deal, when that gets signed, will that translate as a whole on both sides of the ball? With Dak coming back healthy, the offensive line gelling, Micah leading this defense. Playoffs should be in the mix for this team, but everything has to gel together.
Sizzle, I'm talking about sizzle. George Pickens, Micah Parsons, slim down Dak. CeeDee Lamb got a Robin. To go along with him being Batman. No stake. We've seen this so many times before, Smitty, and unfortunately, hey man, listen. The same material. I gotta see it to believe it. The Dallas Cowboys, I know the Kansas City's trying to decide should they be in Missouri or Kansas. Y'all should decide. Are y'all the Dallas Cowboys or should y'all move to Missouri? Show me that it's real because I've seen this before. All talk, I want to see the action.
Speaking of action, I think the stock is way up on the Denver Broncos. I love this team and where they're going. I think the arrow is up on this team, and it's up to Bo Nix to continue to take them higher.
The most dangerous team in the AFC West resides in Denver with a guy first name Bo, last name Nix. His coach is Sean Payton, and he's coming off a playoff berth as a rookie. Only didn't win Rookie of the Year because Jaden Daniels had to move mountains up there in the state, in the nation's capital. Bo Nix and company are not a fluke. Tell y'all, they are not a fluke. They are coming. If a rookie quarterback can get him like that, trying to figure out the offense, what happens when he settles in? Watch out.
The Detroit Lions lose their offensive coordinator, lose their defensive coordinator. They're going to take some step backs on defense and offense, I think, this year. And they lost Frank Ragnow, their center, as well, to retirement. Can they take steps forward after hearing a lot of these players think this team is better than last year's team? And I don't think they're going to have all those defensive injuries down the stretch like they did last year, especially with Aiden Hutchinson being point man number one.
The Green Bay Packers are the tradition-rich program. The Chicago Bears, right? They got that brand name. The Minnesota Vikings had a good year. I believe that the Detroit Lions are the standard in that division. They say, listen, we got the best culture, and our culture will get us back to the promised land. No Ben Johnson, no Aaron Glenn, no center. We had no Aiden Hutchinson in 2024. What do we do? No problem. I think they are the standard. They'll be back.
Similar to Kyler Murray with the Green Bay Packers, it's go time for Jordan Love.
Jordan Love just got married. Congratulations. Welcome to this side of the world. Jordan. They gave you what they didn't give Aaron Rodgers. They gave you speed. Josh Jacobs came out and said it during the year. Hey, man, we got good receivers. We don't got nobody to scare nobody. Ain't nobody got to go over the top. It's golden. Use that youngin'. And I just think that for a Green Bay Packers team, Detroit is the standard. What are y'all? Okay. If Detroit is the standard, I want to know what Green Bay is. And I think Jordan Love is the guy to get him there. live up to that. So I think for Green Bay, I would go, hey man, they hunters. Let's go out there and hunt.
The Houston Texans. I don't think this is a Super Bowl team, but I think they could get to the championship game if they perform to their ceiling. But if this offensive line does not protect C.J. Stroud like last year, look out. And I don't mean that in a good way. I mean, look out.
Are the Houston Texans good because the division is bad? Or the Houston Texans good because they're good? In 2024, I think they was good because the division was bad. In 2023, they was good because they were good. I think 2025, we gonna know. Because if they're good because they're good, they beat Kansas City on the road in the playoffs. But if you good because the rest of the division is bad, I don't know how good you are. I want to know what they say. First year a fluke, second year, you know what I'm saying, they prove everybody wrong. Could 3 year be a three year be a charm? We'll see. We'll see if 3 could be the lucky number for the Houston Texans.
The Indianapolis Colts. I love Lou Anarumo coming over from Cincinnati, but it's the quarterback like normal. They're in Indianapolis. Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson. The quarterback will be the reason this team goes far or misses the playoffs once again.
Anthony Richardson. The best ability in football is availability. If Anthony Richardson is starting for the Indianapolis Colts in Week 18, they are in contention to be a playoff team. If he is there for all 18 weeks, they will be in contention to be a playoff team. If Daniel Jones is a starter, different year, same old coach. Like I said, Smitty, if I got 2 quarterbacks, it's because I don't got one. Anthony Richardson, do you want to be the one? Or did Daniel Jones go out and let you know, hey, man, your official exit from Indy started when I signed here. You just didn't know.
Travis Hunter. That's it. Jacksonville Jaguars. Travis Hunter and what he looks like down there in Duval.
The most intriguing quarterback in the National Football League plays in Jacksonville. His first name is Trevor. His last name is Lawrence. If you're talking about the AFC South, I think the Houston Texans got the best team and the best culture. I think Indianapolis got a quarterback problem, and I think Tennessee doesn't have an identity. The Jacksonville Jaguars have the most exciting young receivers in the league. Who are they? Brian Thomas on the outside, Travis Hunter on the other side, De'Ami Brown coming over from the Commanders at slot as a slot receiver. They listen with Travis Etienne starting at running back and Tank Bigsby at the backup. They got the best young core. Problem is they don't play quarterback. If Trevor Lawrence, just like Anthony Richardson, starts all 18 games and he drives that Ferrari and doesn't wreck it, I think they got a shot to not only contend for the division, they got a shot to win it. Because they got 2 guys on defense named Trayvon Walker, you know what I'm saying, and Josh Allen that can get after the QB. Good offense, complimentary defense with 2 premier pass rushers in a conference that doesn't really have an identity. I say the Jacksonville Jaguars could be on their way. Because for Liam Cohen's sake, who literally left just like Coach Canales, who used to be the offensive coordinator, Coach Canales picked Bryce Young. Liam Cohen picked Trevor Lawrence over Baker Mayfield. Better work out.
Kansas City Chiefs, will they be back in the Super Bowl again for the 4th straight year in a row? This offense could be electric with Rashee Rice coming back. Hollywood Brown, who people forget is on that team. Xavier Worthy is second-year player. Tackle with Josh Simmons from Ohio State protecting Patrick Mahomes. They've got options. They've got toys to play with. Is a 4th straight appearance in the Super Bowl on tap for the Kansas City Chiefs, who should be better this year on offense, and that should be scary for the rest of the league.
Do I think the Kansas City Chiefs will be in the Super Bowl for the 4th straight year? No. Will they be competitive in 2025? Yes. Will their offense be outstanding? Yes. The defense is going to take a step back. They're going to take a huge step back. Because I think the thing about this defense is the defense is really, really good, but the offense used to be stellar. I think this year the offense is gonna go through a nice little shift to get back to what they used to doing. But the defense, they're gonna have to outscore teams, which they capable of doing. It's gonna be hard to go right back to the Super Bowl like they've been doing. Travis Kelce said he's gonna play as long as he can play. Chris Jones is still a premier pass rusher in the defensive line position. I don't see Kansas City going back to the Super Bowl this year. I just think it's going to be too big of a step this year with so many things they got to overcome. They don't really care about the regular season, Smitty. And if they don't get home field advantage throughout, them having the potential to go on the road to win playoff games, that's not where they thrive at. Not in 2025. Will be exciting. Still respect Patrick Mahomes, boy. He's still him. But I think the league is catching up to Kansas City.
Just like my word with the Panthers with alignment, I think it's the same word, but I'll just go with a different word instead of alignment. I'm going to go with being more meshed together. It's kind of two words for the Las Vegas Raiders. I think they're seeking to be just relevant again. And I think they've done that this offseason with John Spytek, with Pete Carroll, Tom Brady coming in there as a minority owner, along with some others as well. And I think they're going to be respectable this year.
Pete Carroll, if you build it, they will win. Problem is, you got to build it. This ain't Seattle. This ain't SC. You got to build it. I see what you got in Crosby. I know that Tom Brady is in ownership. I know you got Ashton Genty. I know you got Geno. I know you got some familiar faces to kind of help you. You know what I'm saying? You have more of a college-type culture. But right now, you got Brock Bowers. You have no identity. You have no culture. So while it's being built, you're going to go through some growing pains. But when you build it, you guys will win because I saw what you did at SC. I saw what you did in Seattle. I think you do the same thing with Las Vegas.
Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert, please step up to the plate and contend. Take your team to the playoffs and look good doing it.
The Chargers. The Chargers are the most excitingly disappointing team you're going to see. They're going to be exciting. They are. They are.
I love it.
I mean, think about it, Smitty. They're exciting, right? This is what I'm going to call the Chargers until Harbaugh. They paper champions. On paper, they'll beat everybody in the league. Let's look at these guys. Part of me is they got to play. Derwin James, right? Khalil Mack, right? Mike Williams went back over there. You got Justin Herbert. You get a nice rookie out of North Carolina at running back. You got Harbaugh. Can't beat Kansas City. Can't beat Denver. Might be scratching and clawing to beat Las Vegas. You're exciting. You're excitingly disappointing until you prove otherwise.
The Los Angeles Rams is all about protecting Matthew Stafford. I don't know how long he's going to be in the league. He keeps signing year-to-year deals at this point, second-year team option. Their left tackle, Alaire Jackson, signed an extension this offseason, and now he's out indefinitely with blood clots. They signed DJ Humphries to be the stopgap. He is a wildly aged veteran there. Matthew Stafford, old quarterback, left tackle issues, that's not good for the LA Rams. Even though they did add Devontae Adams and among others, the offensive line and Stafford protection is my key to watch.
Defeating Father Time. That's how I think about the Rams. You got a quarterback. You got a quarterback in his mid-30s. You one of your starting receivers is in his early 30s. You got a young guy in Poop in the Cool. You got Tutu Atwell, but you got Sean McVay. You got a guy that understands offense. And I think for that division, I think that, once again, the most dangerous team in that division to me is going to be those Rams, because the Rams could have easily went to the Super Bowl last year against the Philadelphia Eagles team, and I think the Rams just ran out of time because Matthew Stafford showed you, if I got time on the clock, I am Brett Favre without the pick sixes. I am Brett Favre without the picks. I'm going to take chances, but I'm a gunslinger, but I'm going to take care of the football. Father Time is not on their side. Matthew Stafford been beating up Father Time for the last 2 or 3 years. So I want to see this team go out there and compete.
Miami Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa. If he's on the field, this team has a chance to go to the playoffs and win a game or two. If he is not on the field, this team is done. Chris Greer and GM and Mike McDaniel, head coach, will be gone at the end of the season, if not during the season. This all rests on Tua Tagovailoa and the resetting of culture that is still happening, especially on defense in Miami.
The Miami Dolphins are my Chargers of the South. They are excitingly disappointing. They're going to be exciting. They're going to be exciting, and it's going to be much to do about nothing. The health of Tua is going to be a concern every single Sunday. whether that's injuries or concussions. So the thing about Tua is this. I think Tua is a concussion away of having to walk away from football either forcibly or behind the scenes. I don't want that to happen. I do not want that to happen. But another concussion for Tua, his career is over. They will not allow him to come back to the National Football League, even though they allowed him to. He probably signed so many waivers to come back after that second one. And the thing about the Dolphins is this. You cannot keep your best players healthy, and you cannot keep your best players happy. Phillips, right? Chubb, your two pass rushers, stay hurt. Tyreek Hill, every other game, if not every game, he's threatening to walk away or don't want to play that no more. Jalen Ramsey is a Pittsburgh Steeler now. Jonnu Smith is a Pittsburgh Steeler now. Micah Fitzpatrick is back. But I think I would ask Mike McDaniel, do they respect you because of your position, or do they respect you, period? There is a difference. If they respect you, period, it's regardless of your position. But if they only respect you because you're the head coach, that means that really behind the scenes and on the scenes, look, man, we do whatever we want to do, but I'm gonna do all I can to not be insubordinate and be a sour taste in the mouth for the fans of the team. But I just want to know, are y'all hype and nothing else, or can y'all live up to the hype? You're gonna have to do it without Jalen. You're gonna have to do it without Jonnu, and depending on what happens week by week, you might have to do it without Tua if you can't protect him.
Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, his rookie season is this year on the field, and I think he's going to be good because they are built to win around him, and that defense is nasty.
J.J. McCarthy would do his best Bo Nix impression. He would come out and say, look, I know this essentially is my rookie year because I didn't play my rookie year, but because you put a team around me, a.k.a. a defense, and I think you could do – I think there's a lot of things that you could do much worse than T.J. Hawkinson, Justin Jefferson, so, I mean, I just, so I just think that – and Addison. So I just think for them, yeah, I think J.J. is going to be good. You don't – listen, you don't have to be Sam Darnold. You just got to be J.J.
The New England Patriots, I'm going back to left tackle. Will Campbell, their rookie from LSU, number 4 overall pick, is the reason the Patriots will either protect Drake May and have that improving defense to make a run at 500 and sneak into the playoffs. I don't think that's going to happen. Or be really bad like they were last year with bottom to below average talent at almost every position, except for quarterback and a few other places where they were some bright spots. But Will Campbell and that left tackle spot is where the Patriots I'm watching there.
Will Campbell has the Patriot way written all over him from his press conference when he got drafted to who he was at LSU to how he plays. He's nasty. He's gritty. He's grimy. He is everything Mike Vrabel is looking for in a football player in a New England Patriot, and he's going to lead the way. Mike Vrabel understands it's not about the team I inherit more than the team I add. I'm trying to add these rookies led by Will Campbell, who already said I'm willing to die there on that field, man. So yeah, man, I think Drake May got a really, really good young team around him. They're gonna be competitive. I don't think they're ready for Miami. I know they're not ready for Buffalo, but the Jets should be very, very nervous because I guarantee you, Mike Vrabel, he says we competing for two things. We compete to be respected in this division, and we competing to not be last in this division as well.
The New Orleans Saints quarterback at a premium this year between Spencer Rattler, Tyler Shuck, and Jake Haener. Where they finish as a whole this year in a very quarterback-rich draft in 2026 tells a lot where this team could go next year. But it's all about the quarterback this year, no matter who plays for the New Orleans Saints.
When I think about the Saints, one word comes to mind. Wow. Because you talk about respectability to just there. I mean, Alvin Kamara, Tyrann Mathieu, Cameron Jordan. These are the best players on your team, and they're the oldest players on your team, even though Alvin Kamara is not old. So identity crisis. Who in the world is the Saints? I mean, unless they're gonna play the Dallas Cowboys every game, which they're going defeated, had they done that, I don't see a lot of things that feel good about Kellen Moore. You finally became a head coach. Problem is, you got to coach the Saints, and outside of Spencer Strider, a second-round rookie, it's gonna be a long season for the Saints.
I'm going to combine some of the ones that we have left since they're at the same state just to get through these last ones a little faster. New York Giants, New York Jets. The Giants, if the defense plays like I think they're going to play, the quarterback just has to be average because I think they might have something on defense, and offense has some weapons around whoever's playing quarterback. And then the Jets, both lines of scrimmages are loaded on this team. But just like the Steelers chose to try to keep Justin Fields, and he said, no, I'm going to the Jets. Can Justin Fields finally play somewhere and look like a franchise quarterback?
The New York Football Giants, they can put it together. They have the best defensive line in football. They will have the best one. Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, if they can put it together. Problem is, they don't play offense. I don't know who Russell Wilson is anymore. I don't think Jameis Winston is going to be the backup, but I think Jackson Dart, as soon as they can get him in, the better. And I think for the New York Football Jets, I agree. Justin Fields get to finally prove, one, he got a team that want him, on a team that wants to play, on a team that wants to contend. I want to see the young man get out there and play 18 weeks and see what he can do on a team that wants his services, and he's not just a fill-in.
Yep. Philadelphia and Pittsburgh in the state of Pennsylvania. Philadelphia Eagles, Kevin Patullo replacing Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator there in Philly. And then in Pittsburgh, it's all about Aaron Rodgers and his 1-year deal, as he says, his last season there in Pittsburgh. Can Mike Tomlin deliver once again, not just not having a losing season, but can this team go to the playoffs finally again under Mike Tomlin and make some noise?
Nope. I think you got a tale of two very different franchises going in two very different directions. The Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in football, and they are trending upward. The Pittsburgh Steelers are one of the best franchises in the National Football League, and they are trending down. Why? Because Mike Tomlin bet the farm on Aaron Rodgers. Case closed. You haven't signed T.J. Watt. You bet the farm on Aaron Rodgers. You just traded for Jalen Ramsey. You let go of Minka Fitzpatrick. You got Jonnu Smith. I respect Mike Tomlin and what he's doing, but if you're doing all this just to make sure you never have a 500 record, come on, man. Mike Tomlin is great at being a football coach. He is awful at picking quarterbacks.
All right. Combining the two NFC West teams left on this list, Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers, there are a lot of cap casualties and a lot of retooling this offseason. But that schedule is cakewalk, and this group is loaded. If they are as good as they were 2 years ago, they could be right back in the Super Bowl conversation. The Seattle Seahawks, Sam Darnold played well, but he had Justin Jefferson. Can he play well in the Pacific Northwest with an offensive skill players that get injured a lot with like Kenneth Walker? The offensive line is shaky. The defense, I'm not sure what that Mike McDonald offensive defense side of the ball is going to look like. So I'm going to say not incomplete, like I said, with the Browns, but a lot of question marks with the Seattle Seahawks.
If the 49ers can stay healthy on offense without you coming back, Brandon, Ricky Pearsall, you're talking about Kittle, you're talking about CMC, you're talking about Brock Purdy, Trent Williams. They're gonna run through that schedule. They might even run through this division. I mean, Fred Warner and company on defense. We'll see how Fred Warner's gonna be. Tre'Davious Ward, those guys are gone. But you got Fred Warner. You got a shot to be really, really good. The Seattle Seahawks. Sam Darnold did what he's supposed to do in Minnesota. Ricky gets hurt. You go out there and put up big time numbers. But the Seattle Seahawks, they are starting over because they got a new quarterback. They got the same coach, new quarterback. The cast of characters, we'll see. Nobody, the usual faces are gone. They got new guys in there. They're going to have to rely on that run game. If Kenneth Walker can stay healthy, they're going to have to rely on the defense. They're going to have to keep him in games. But I am happy for Sam. I am for finally proving the right place, right situation, right circumstance. He can go out there and thrive. Hopefully Seattle is that for him.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We mentioned it earlier. Dave Canales now in Carolina. Liam Cohen now in Jacksonville. That would be Josh Grizzard, 35-year-old offensive coordinator, third in 3 years for Baker Mayfield. How is he going to do leading this Bucs offense?
That coach has already been set. I mean, you had a big-time receiver out of Ohio State. Listen, what the Bucs do is this. The Bucs say, look, All we can control is what we do within the division. And the last 4 years, we've won the division with or without Tom Brady. So they definitely got the best culture, which to me, culture win games more than teams will anytime. Baker Mayfield is very, very comfortable in his offense. Mike Williams, and him got a really, really good coach. They got a nice young running back. They got a defense that can keep them in games. I think that Tampa gonna be hard to beat, but I think that the Carolina Panthers, Atlanta Falcons gonna have to help together dethrone them Tampa Bay Bucks because they don't think they can be beat. They can be beat outside the division. They think they run the NFC South right now.
I just want to clarify. It might have been my Mike. Did you say Mike Williams instead of Mike Evans?
But yeah, Mike Williams. I'm sorry, is a Los Angeles Charger. Mike Evans, who's been around so long, but yeah, Mike Evans is gonna continue doing what he's doing, and now they actually got his replacement in the building. Even though Mike Evans said, "Listen, I'm gonna decide to walk away when I'm ready to walk away."
That's fair. I agree with you on the Titans. They don't have an identity. Cam Ward is going to be very good, I think, as a rookie. He's going to lead them to some wins that people don't expect. But that identity is going to be important, establishing a culture here in year one in Tennessee.
No, it's no passing game, no running game. Your best players on defense, you either trade away or let them go in free agency. You got a head coach that's trying to figure out what he's trying to do. So for me, Cam Ward is going to be exciting. You're going to have to live with his mistakes. The fact that Will Levis is still getting NFL checks lets me know that the front office of the Titans are not serious about winning games. We'll try to put some pressure on the AFC South. We're not going to win the AFC South, but we are trying to compete for either the Indianapolis Colts to not be the last team in that division this year.
Jaden Daniels could be my topic here, and he very well might be, not to avoid a sophomore slump. But I'm going to go about the defense. Can the defense continue to play like they did last year in year two under Dan Quinn and Adam Peters built Washington Commanders and give Jaden Daniels and this offense that is very bright in DC some help? And I just don't think they're walking into the NFC title game again this year, 12-win season. I think they're going to take a slight step back. But we'll see. There's a lot of tape on Jaden Daniels, but can this defense continue to perform around the offense that is expected to be good once again?
They better. I mean, but that's all Jaden Daniels, the company's going to need. I think Jaden Daniels understand that he's going to have to continue to get better because they do have a full year of tape on him. You add, Debo, Samuels, to come over there. I think this Commanders team will go as Jaden Daniels go. Very, very exciting, understanding that the best team in football is in their division. The Dallas Cowboys are not going to lay down. The New York Football Giants might have the best D-line in the National Football League if those guys can put it together. But I want to see the sophomore year of a one Jaden Daniels.
And that was our kind of one takeaway from each team after the last 5 to 6 weeks, summer, draft, free agency, everything all combined as we start division previews next week here on Winning the Division. Again, rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Keep Counting Podcast Network, Fans First Sports Network, youtube.com/Tobacco Radio. We'll be back on Wednesday for episode 50, a special one with Dalton Wasserman from PFF. Remember, for Ben Troupe, I am Ryan Smith. You are either winning the division or you are in the division. We'll see you guys next time.